Good afternoon. Welcome to Christ Presbyterian Church in downtown Canton, Ohio, for this concert series event in the 2020-2021 series. I'm Heather Cooper, along with my husband Britt. We are blessed to be a part of the music ministry here at the church. Today we are thrilled to welcome back a familiar face to many of us here in Canton. Mario Buchanan is joining me for this Keys and Pedals Galore concert. Mario served here as the Gibbs music intern for 2 years, and he is now the director of music and organist at Christ Episcopal Church in Hudson, Ohio. So we welcome him back. And on this concert, we will be featuring 3 of the beautiful instruments. We have the sanctuary organ, the Bosendorfer grand piano, and the continuo organ in the balcony. We'll be hearing those 3 instruments in a variety of combinations this afternoon. At this time, I'd like to welcome Mario and let him introduce our first duet.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you, Heather, for that lovely introduction. I am so thankful and excited to be here. As always, when you come back to a familiar place, many great memories flood back. So my brain is just filling with those great memories of people here. Our first piece by Georg Friedrich Handel was an organ concerto, and still is, but Helmut Walcha, who was a world-renowned organist, actually wrote this little arrangement of the organ concerto for 2 organs. And we decided, well, we have 2 instruments here in the space, why not use them? So you'll hear some kind of back and forth. You'll hear maybe some things together, some different colors each one can do. So I hope you enjoy this piece by Handel. Our next piece is by a kind of a favorite composer of mine, Dr. Leo Sowerby. Sowerby was, for many years, well, first he was born in Michigan. He was an American composer, and he was considered, and still is considered, the dean of church music in America. He wrote a huge amount of compositions, about 500 compositions in total, in every single genre except opera. And Sowerby, for many years, served at St. James Episcopal Cathedral in Chicago. And after he retired from that, he went on to Washington National Cathedral and founded the College for Cathedral Musicians, which trained some great musicians that are still around today in various churches around the country. Sowerby's music was probably well known orchestrally, not as well in the church, because a lot of his music is very jazz influenced in nature. This piece, the dialogue for piano and organ, it was written in 1967. It was a year before Sowerby died. And it really shows the two colors of the instrument. Having a piano and organ duet is actually quite difficult because a lot of times they are in different places, a lot of times they are in different tunings. There's a myriad of things that can be issues with writing for two instruments and also being able to write well for both. But Sowerby does this masterfully, where both instruments stand on their own as concert instruments, because Sowerby was both a great organist and also he was a concert pianist for many, many years. And they come together in some parts, but then they have their own little development sections. And it uses all of the resources of the piano and the resources of the organ. So I hope you enjoy the dialogue by Dr. Leo Sowerby. such a luscious piece. I think of it as you have the fluffiest cloud in the world, and you're just laying in it, basking. Something I did not mention, my apologies before, was that Sowerby actually has a Ohio connection. For many years, when there was a choir camp on Put-in Bay, the choir camp was Wally Rowe Camp, named after the former bishop of this diocese, the Episcopal Diocese. And Sowerby used to be the composer in residence there for many years. And actually, he died there of a heart attack. So it's him being a lot of his pieces, if you see on the top, to Wally Rowe, he was composing it here in Ohio. Now for something completely different. Marcel Dupre was considered one of the great virtuosic organists of his time, and probably one of the great virtuosic organists of all time. Dupre had this knack of, well, not knack, but he had this ability to play anything he wanted at whatever tempo he wanted flawlessly. For many years, he was born in France, stayed his life in France, and played at Saint-Sulpice as the title organist there. And he wrote this set, this Opus 7, 3 preludes and fugues, this first one being in B major. And during this time, he won a prize to work on a cantata. And while he was doing that, his friend Vidor said, well, why don't you take some respite, take some time off. And apparently his time off that he needed, he wrote these. And this prelude and fugue is one of the hardest pieces in the repertoire, but it's such fun to play. During this time also, he was playing cycles of music of J.S. Bach. And because of that, I think that influence crept into his writing preludes and fugues. So you'll hear this kind of flashy toccata in the very beginning. It goes through a myriad of keys, and it ends quite stately, as Dupre said it in this very joyous sounding piece, like an Easter. And then the fugue has this long fugue subject, which then comes in the right hand, the left hand, and then goes into the pedal and continues on. And we go all the way to full organ. So I hope you will enjoy the Prelude and Fugue in B major by Marcel Dupre.
Wow, what a treat. It is really something special to sit at this instrument and play. Today I am overwhelmed by being the lucky one who gets to sit and listen as Mario played that for us. So thank you. What a glorious sound. I think you used every single stop on the instrument. I'd like to tell you a little bit more about the two organs. The sanctuary organ is the Gibbs Prior organ. It was installed in 1952. And over the years, there have been additions, new sounds and stops added. So currently, it is a 72-rank instrument with 4 manuals plus the pedals. I believe that Mario was using the enchamade trumpets, the trumpets that you see on the back wall here in the chancel, which means he literally pulled out all the stops. The balcony organ, the continuo organ, is a small 1-manual instrument, so there's no pedals on it. It's a 3.5-rank instrument, so there's an 8-foot, a 4-foot, and a 2-foot set of stops, and then there's also a 4-foot principal that only works on the upper half of the instrument so that the right-hand melody can sing out a little bit more. So Mario and I are going to play another of the Handel duets, this one in G major, and we will let the organs have the fun of this conversation back and forth. Next on the program, we will move to the third instrument in this room, the Bösendorfer piano. This instrument was acquired in 2014. I was lucky enough to be part of the committee that went out and played and listened to a number of different instruments before deciding that the warm sonority of this instrument and the expressive capabilities of it were just such a good match for this space. The brand Bösendorfer is from Vienna, Austria, and the piece that I'm playing is by Franz Liszt. And when the company was really in its infancy, just about 10 years old or so, Liszt, who was a phenomenal concert pianist, chose to play a Bösendorfer for one of his concerts in Vienna, and that helped launch the brand and the instrument, and it remains one of the quality instruments that you can buy to this day. So this is a concert etude called Waldesrauschen, Forest Murmurs. It is meant to depict the wind rustling through the trees, a scene out in nature. So this is the Liszt etude.
Wow. It is always a great, great pleasure to play with Heather. I have so enjoyed playing this, programming this concert, getting this concert together, all of the great stuff about putting the concert together. I do wish we had, a lot of people here, but I hope that all of you are enjoying your wonderful couch time while you listen to some great music. Christ Church surely is very blessed to have Heather here and Britt, and also this lovely space and these lovely instruments. The next piece by George Shearing is originally an organ piece, but Heather and I decided, well, why don't we do it as an organ-piano duet? And great fun. The tune is Restoration. It's based off Come Ye Sinners, Poor and Needy, or in the Episcopal hymnal for people in my congregation, it is also to the text, Jesus calls us over the tumult. George Shearing was a blind pianist born in England, and he later came here to the U.S. and had a long career as a jazz musician. He used to go on shows like the Ed Sullivan Show. I think he used to work for Columbia. I mean, all of these great things. But also he was a member of St. Thomas Episcopal Church in New York. And he loved the choir there, and also he wrote these pieces later in his life. These 9 pieces based off American folk tunes. And they're all different in every single nature, but it has that Shearing accent of wonderful harmonies. So you kind of hear first the tune in its original form, and then he just expounds on it more and more until we get to these really dense harmonies at the end. So I hope you enjoy this piece by George Shearing.
It has been such a joy to spend time in rehearsal with Mario and put together this concert for you all. We celebrate this recently renovated space. We celebrate the instruments that speak to us on Sunday mornings in worship and also these concerts. We invite you to look for our upcoming concerts in this series. The next one will be at the end of February. The group Les Liszt, playing on period instruments, will present a program to us based on books from the Old Testament. Then on Palm Sunday, we feature the Benjamin Britten cantata, Abraham and Isaac. And then in April, we have a flute and harp concert. So we do hope that you will visit cantoncpc.org and join us again for those upcoming events. And for Sunday morning worship, live streamed 10:30 each Sunday morning. The closing piece on our program is Simple Gifts, a tune that is recognizable to so many of us. Many of us know it from Aaron Copeland's setting in Appalachian Spring. This is a charming arrangement by Charles Callahan, a light finish for this afternoon's concert. Again, thank you for joining us, and we hope that you will join us again in the future.